has been added. YouTube, you miss out on some good stuff sometimes. Okay, so I am Molly Sleuth. We are like broadcasting all over the place. Just a teeny bit about me. I had a little bit of a glow up. I was a kid punk rocker, and then I became a cop.
Now, no, seriously, your transformation is incredible. Put those up side by side. Seriously. Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, both of those are still inside of this. I just dress differently now. That's all. They're both still there. They were always there. Okay, Nevs, introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Nevs. No, you can. So I do a lot of social media content creation. I'll do video creation. I do a lot of trailer videos for Pepe Lives Matter, for his articles. And I'm a part of the Department of Winning. You can find me at Nevs TV on X or Nevs channel on Telegram. And I'm other places too, but you could do Linktree/Nevs TV and you'll find all my links.
You are so high polished. I kind of wonder why you're hanging out with us tonight.
Oh, please. You're so much fun.
All right, Randy. How do you introduce yourself after Nev's resume there?
I know. I have to follow that. Randy Agard, former United States Marine, former police officer. That's how I met Molly. Also, native New Yorker, living in California. A few years in Queens, a few years in Brooklyn. My story is just, I woke up to all this madness, so trying to do my best.
When did you wake up to the madness?
2018. Started waking up a little before when I was following what was going on. Strangely enough, in Europe, all of the stuff that's happening here was happening there. And then I just noticed one side was saying emotional arguments, and then the other side was saying reality, like the migrant caravan. It's a manufactured hoax. I can see 15,000 people coming. And this was in the Queens. So that's when I started waking up. Thank you for asking me that, though, Nevs.
Yeah. Who are you, Molly?
There's like a spider web in my face or something. Was being attacked.
Do we have to worry about you?
I mean, more than usual, or I don't know. We have some fun stuff tonight. I did want to mention the swear jar because I think it's kind of fun. It's just so stupid. I don't know why I cuss so much, and I really don't notice it. We talked about it last week, and so we started a swear jar last week. And last week we donated $10 to this little bunny named Olive. And we did get a thank you back. I don't even think this guy has any idea that we were making fun of his bunny. But I found this bunny on GoFundMe. There were some other contenders. I hate GoFundMe. It's just ridiculous. But if we can donate $10 to a little bun like that, and that was only because I swore 10 times. So we'll see how much I have to donate tonight.
Well, I have a surprise for you, Molly.
I don't like surprises.
Do you see what's behind my shoulder here?
Surprises make me swear. Hold on, Grandma needs her glasses.
Oh, Grandma. Oh, okay. So if you guys can watch, I'm going to be doing a counter. Every time she swears, I'm going to put that counter up. So people in chat, let me know if I'm slacking. I'm watching chat. I'm watching chat.
In the Molly Sleuth chat, I change my emotes like all the time, and that's how I got my new Nevs emote this week, which is very exciting. I'll just put one, the very first one that says this. That's what she said. That's how you clock me when I am cursing. And so we will count those, or your evil counter once, just to make sure that it works. That's how I feel. I don't know that I trust it. So we do have some GoFundMes tonight, but forget Candace Owens. this is some real investigative journalism. I was on GoFundMe tonight. First of all, GoFundMe is such a cesspool. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I watched your show where you were talking about the GoFundMes you found, and I'm like, that's new because I don't remember that kind of stuff on GoFundMe.
It's bad. That's why they started that fund the first, because there were officers that were injured in the line of duty that were trying to put together GoFundMes, and GoFundMe said, nope, it's fascism. We won't allow any, Blue Lives Matter content on GoFundMe at all. In fact, at that time, I think GoFundMe had said, we reserve the right when you're donating all of this money to so-and-so to use that money elsewhere, and we could donate it to Black Lives Matter. And so like all the cops and anybody that was like MAGA or Blue Lives Matter just like pulled out and was like, we're never using GoFundMe again. And I don't know that I'd really use it that much. My friend had cancer and she had used it, but I was like, well, I'm not going to pay a tip to GoFundMe. And actually, when I donated money to Little Olive here, GoFundMe asked me if I wanted to add a tip to GoFundMe. No, I don't. I am just so sick of this tipping culture. Like, I picked up a pizza today. So today, like, that's a rarity. When I picked up my pizza today, they wanted me to tip for it. And it's like, I walked my fat ass over here to come get it. You need to tip me. I'm just sick of everything being a tip. Anyway.
Well, I'm a big tipper. I'm the opposite. I'm all pro tip. Yeah, I like to tip people because I've been in that situation where I had to work a crappy job and didn't get paid much, and I worked hard.
Okay, but if you are making pizzas for a living, should I be paying for your condo in Florida? Like, I feel like at some point you have to. Oh, my lights are doing crazy things.
When do we not tip, Nevs?
Yeah, when do we not tip? When's it okay for me to be cheap?
I'm really cheap when, so I tip based on the service, right?
You have no service. You ordered a pizza online. Nobody even had to answer the phone anymore. Somebody put a pizza in the oven and it melted.
Well, if you live in Minnesota, if you live here in Minnesota and people deliver to you in a blizzard, I'm going to tip them.
Okay, but that's delivery, and that is above and beyond. I walked my fat ass to the pizza place.
Oh, that's different. No.
And they still wanted a tip.
No,
and I'm like, so what you're saying is that the $18 pizza, you want it to be more than $18. And that's fine. Yeah. I could just order a smaller pizza, or I could pay more for a pizza. But like, at what point has this tipping thing? Like, my first job, I don't mean to age myself, but I made $4.35 an hour, and I busted my butt, and there was no tip jar. And I wasn't in a tipping industry. I stocked shelves at a grocery store. Nobody tipped me. And guess what? I didn't keep that job and expect to buy a car and keep voting for.
You know what they should do is not have waitresses and waiters make less than minimum wage, and then we wouldn't have to tip.
Well, I mean, that is the whole thing about it, is like, oh, but they don't make a living wage. Like, well, you applied for a job that doesn't make a living wage. Like, it's like,
that's
teachers who work 9 months
don't take those jobs.
Yeah, don't take those jobs. So, I mean, there are lots of jobs out there. I've probably worked all of them. Well, we're going to talk about one tonight where my boobs were on TV. Those are AI. That is AI. Those are my AI boobs. We'll talk about that.
Oh,
it does have to do with politics, though. I promise. Okay, so let's do this GoFundMe thing, and then somebody can take over. Okay, so hold on. Grandma needs her glasses. Okay, so I was on GoFundMe and I was looking up all this stuff, and I was looking up keywords. I was trying to find people that were deserving, and then like some of the like more loser ones that were on, GoFundMe, which 99.999% of them are losers. And I found this guy, and let's just say, it's the same guy. Okay, so he's got a few out there. The first time he posts, he says that he wants to support his disabled neighbors after their car caught fire. That's super nice. He talks about how they need this car for medical stuff and that their car was burnt down and all this stuff. And so that's story number one. Story number two. Now his car has burned down. But it wasn't just burned down. I have to read this to you. It's just ridiculous. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'll keep the names out to protect the guilty. Studying law. I use my car for everything. School, gig work, and support. So anyhow, to the point, I was driving downtown Seattle with my MAGA hat on. Like, there's your first lie. You live in Seattle and you're wearing a MAGA hat. Negative. Little did I know I was going to be the worst hat I've ever worn. But I did buy another one. Like, well, that was a segue. But back to his story. So I was going to pick up some to-go food around 10 p.m. on a Saturday. When walking out to my car, I was approached by 2 black males and 2 Hispanic males. They said, "So, you like Donald Trump and Musk?" And as I was putting my key in the door, I said, "Yes." Then I said, "You guys have a nice night." Instead, I got hit by something in the back of the head. They beat the living shit out of me. "I bet you won't wear that hat again, effing Trump lover, Musk lover." They kept beating on me. They took my food and my wallet, which had my rent money in it, and took my car. I could barely see as they drove to the end of the block and then set my car on fire. I could do nothing. People walked by like they saw nothing. An old guy got me into his car and took me to the hospital, where I stayed about a week before I could even get home.
Oh, this dude, we need video or it didn't happen. We need to see the hospital bill.
Okay, so now his car, the neighbor's car's on fire, his car's on fire.
Right.
Okay, but then he posts a third one.
Oh my goodness.
In the third one, now he's at home. He gets robbed. They take the car to the end of his block and catch it on fire.
There's still another car on fire? Seriously?
Yes, but this time the car is now in his neighborhood. He's not getting food now. He was at home. He had just gotten off of work. So he had just gotten paid. So I got robbed of my rent money. So I guess he gets paid cash. Maybe he's a stripper. I don't know. Anyway, so these freaking people, I hate liars for one. But yes. So tonight's swear jar, I don't know if I've sweared yet.
You haven't. I've been waiting. Wait, can I just say one thing about your picking GoFundMes?
What?
You should not pick a nice GoFundMe. You
Why?
should have to pay a crappy GoFundMe because otherwise you have an incentive to swear.
No, because I don't know who they're going to pick. I didn't know they were going to pick the bunny last week.
They're going to pick the good one.
All right. We could add him into the mix then.
You need to add him into the mix.
Okay, because he wants 3,500 and 8,000 and 2,600. You know, it just depends on like which car burned down that he needs this money for. But yeah, he says that he's a Trump supporter and he got attacked. He's like the reverse, like Jussie Smollett. This is
Boy,
MAGA
he's a GoFundMe player.
He really is. He has $0 out of all 3 of those. Nobody has donated anything.
He's trying to see what sticks.
So do I tell you like the ones that I picked for this week then?
Go for it.
I have some good ones. Okay. Well, we all know that there were some really catastrophic fires in Los Angeles. Randy and I were both Los Angeles police officers. We have a really big heart for the people of Los Angeles. And, you know, people did lose everything. And so this first GoFundMe, I really feel gets to the heart of solving this problem for the entire city of Los Angeles. We have an artist here, And she would like, I don't remember how many thousands of dollars it was. I think it was like $8,000. I don't have it written here, and I didn't print the 73 pages of it. But anyway, to help solve the problem for the entire city of Los Angeles, you can pay her to draw your home that caught on fire that you don't have anymore. So we don't need to send money to the people who don't have the home. She'll just draw a picture of it, and then everything is right in the world. So that's good.
How did you find that one? Wow.
I'm a digger. That's what they called me when I was a detective. They called me a digger. You like to dig. Anyway, so she says that this journey has been all-encompassing and a lot bigger than I ever imagined. To be able to continue the same dedication to this important cause of drawing people's homes, I need more financial support. It allows her to dedicate time to drawing and to respond quicker and finish projects faster. So yeah, that one is garbage. Then the next one, help me become, I kind of like this one because this guy's ridiculous and I kind of, help me become the ultimate goth boyfriend.
Oh, geez.
With your generous donations, I will abandon my life as the tepid milquetoast pedestrian and emerge as the goth zaddy this world needs. Your efforts will go towards enough tattoos to make me permanently unhireable in an office setting.
Oh,
Bleaching my hair or dyeing it jet black, depending on whatever is less mainstream at the time, supplying me with enough cigarettes to keep me pale and frail, and adequate time for me to brood. Stop waiting for the ultimate goth boyfriend to appear. Make it happen.
Does he have a picture? Oh, geez. You can't even see him.
Yeah, you don't even know. You know what? If there was like a chemtrail maybe going across there, that might be worth $1.
Might be.
And then this one, I did try to find a heartwarming one because this is my money and I don't have a whole lot of it. So we have this, I don't know if you put kids up, but grandma put her kid up. Grandma put her little grandson up. Support karate for ADHD improvement. I'm trying to raise money for my 8-year-old grandson to cover some of the costs of his karate classes. He goes 8 times a month. He's taking the classes to help learn self-control, to help with his ADHD instead of taking medication. They would like him to move up a belt class, but the cost is preventing him. Since starting the class, he has been more focused in school and his grades have started to improve. I'm working hard to keep him in the classes so he does not get discouraged. One, I love grandmas. Like, I just love grandmas. And so I love that she has like all this love for her grandson and that he's getting all of this like discipline. I don't know. I felt like this was a good one. And
how do you find out if these are legit?
they're not, none of them are legit. Your money is just being like, your money's gone. Your money is going for this is MAGA country, like garbage on the internet.
Although that one does sound sweet.
It does sound sweet. Also, I just have to say, I kind of sniff this out as being potentially making a joke on conservatives because I don't think any conservatives own these glasses.
No,
like that's not really like a manly man's glasses. So I just feel like he's making fun of us and wants to get money from people. So
well,
those are my
considering
three
three cars were put on fire.
You know, it is Seattle. I do have to say, it is Seattle. That is entirely possible. They could have all been Teslas. Have you been watching this stuff with the Teslas?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It really
It's crazy.
is. It's just lawless mob mentality.
You know what I really liked is yesterday, or was it today? My days are melding. It was today. President Trump had the big announcement with the new F-47 fighter jet, but they were asking him questions after, and one of the questions they were asking him was about that. And he said, not only is he calling it terrorism, but whoever's funding it is in just as much trouble, if not more, which that's what I wanted to hear, because you know what? They don't go, they arrest these people. Like, remember 2020? They arrest these people, they let them out of jail right away, and then nothing happens to them.
Yeah.
So we got to go for the ones funding it. So
The big
That
fish.
is really tricky, though, from a law enforcement perspective. Go ahead, Randy.
I was just saying, go for the big fish.
mhm.
Also, I remember if you don't have $5 for gas, buy a $50,000 Tesla, and now it's set fire to Teslas. Like, what are we doing? Which one is it?
That's the whole woke thing, is that woke just stands for like does not make any sense. And because that doesn't make any sense, that's how you know it's woke. I just feel like you can go for the big fish, but you have a problem with that. I mean, I prosecuted cases for a living. I was a detective for LAPD and worked major assault crimes. I worked autos. I worked burglary. I worked the robbery table. I worked theft. If I lend you my car and you go on a drive-by shooting, you're going to have a hard time prosecuting that as me being accomplice unless you have some proof that I lent you the car for the specific purpose of that.
Exactly.
Understand, like, the way that our law is a little crazy, but if I shoot a bullet over at your face and say, I want you to DIE, and you somehow matrix that shit, I am not automatically prosecuted for attempt homicide. It is usually prosecuted, at least for the city of Los Angeles, as an assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like that's such a different situation. But I think what they need to do is make it illegal to pay anyone to protest. Like protesting,
But the unions do that all the time.
No, but protesting is supposed to be our individual right to have redress against our government. If somebody's paying people to do that, then our voices actually aren't being heard at all. So I do feel like in order for us to be able to protest freely, they really should make that illegal to pay protesters. I don't know.
I mean, yes and no, because we are free to get whatever employment we want, and that would be taking away a freedom. Yes, I
would it be
if you pay somebody to commit a crime, but the problem inherent is that
exactly.
I have to prove that money you knew was for crime.
Well, they walk out on the street interviewing these people with the microphone. Were you paid to be here? Yes. So
but they can say that. You have to show that money was transferred and that the person giving the money knew what that money was for.
Oh, absolutely.
If my mom gives me an allowance and I decide to go buy whatever with it or do something with it, it doesn't necessarily mean that my mom knew about it, authorized it, or intended on that happening just because
so
money exchange.
Just go around it?
No, I don't. But I think we also have to be really careful about how much we get up people's asses about making people responsible for stuff. If I give everybody the day off because it's some kind of, feel good woke holiday and everybody decides to go do something crazy with that, does that mean that as an employer that I should be responsible for what my employees do?
No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking more about these NGOs that finance and they pay for people to, the whole point of them is to disrupt.
The problem is the proof. It's the proof though. So you have to prove, and let's say you just see an email chain, because I guess here's the problem with prosecuting cases. There are things that we know that we could not prove in court. O.J. Simpson comes to mind.
Yeah, that's a really good one that comes to mind.
And there's a million of them, and I could tell you personal cases that I have. There are things that you know that you cannot get a conviction on. And so if, let's say we had an email chain going back and forth, that I am emailing Randy saying, I would like to give you some money so that you can change people's minds about Tesla. And so make sure that, whatever you do gets seen on TV and you know what to do. And Randy's like, yes, I know what to do. And then he gets caught doing some shenanigans. You're going to have a hard time because I'm going to just be able to say, oh no, I wanted him to, do an art installation of Tesla so that people would, or I wanted him to write a special haiku and get on the internet. Unless I'm paying for the ingredients to these devices that are being thrown, and that there's something real specific. I mean, you're just...
Well, they do. They'll have to track where are these firebombs coming from? Who paid for them?
I agree, but
like the bricks that they deliver in 2020,
yeah.
They had bricks.
But again, so that brick company can't be responsible for every a-hole that walks past that pile. Who ordered that pile of bricks?
Exactly.
Did the brick company know anything about it? Did the person who ordered the pile of bricks there are coincidences in this world. So you can't just say a pile of bricks is nefarious because that's just too
unless there's a pile of bricks every 2 blocks right before a protest.
I don't know. I live in Michigan, and Randy made an observation when he came out here.
What was it, Randy?
There was somebody's bike was just in a parking spot. It wasn't chained up. And
I meant that you said that the state must be run on construction because there were like so many cones everywhere.
Oh, the cone situation. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, those cones everywhere.
There's a lot.
But I kind of wanted...
Big hair tsunami.
I wanted to say something to Nevs. I actually get what you're saying because we protested to reopen California during COVID and can I say that? During the pandemic. And then we were told that we were granny killers, super spreaders, and that we're stupid. And then just a few months later, oh, never mind, protesting is fine. And what drowned out our protests was you had paid agitators versus a grassroots. Just we're seeking freedom. So I get what you're saying. It fundamentally drowns out a grassroots protest.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. Which is our constitutional right to do. And you don't have a constitutional right to get paid to protest. So.
Well, you have a right to get employment.
No, you don't. You have the right to. That's not in the Constitution.
Well, it's not in the Constitution, but if I want to do a job that's beneath me or I want to apply for a job that I have no right applying for.
Well, it's not even the employees, it's the employers.
Well, I don't know. As somebody who was in law enforcement for over a decade, I'm real hesitant with this Big Brother shit. Because what I think it opens up to is you say, oh, all of these NGOs are paying for shit. So now we need to tap the phones of all these people, or we need to be able to see all the emails for private companies. And that, we got to do away with FOIA and all this stuff needs to be in this centralized database where we can all look at it from the privacy of our own homes and stuff. And I think it just, every level of crime isn't solved by more oversight and more violating people's Fourth Amendment against search and seizure. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
we'll have to agree to disagree on that one because I don't think businesses have any rights like individuals do. If you're doing a business that's illegal, let's say you want to sell fentanyl, you're not allowed to do that because it's illegal.
Right, that is illegal, but protesting is legal. Firebombing illegal. So it's like that. Do you remember that Seinfeld episode where he was talking about he had this like girlfriend that was like naked all the time, and George Costanza was like, "Do you remember that one?" And George Costanza was like, "Oh, that's good." He's like, "No, it's not good. Not all naked is good naked. What are you talking about? All naked is good naked. No." He said, "Naked hairbrushing, good. Naked coughing, bad." And like I guess the girl was like naked all the time or whatever. It was like just
That's funny.
Anyway.
I see Ben is in chat, but I see him on StreamYard, but I don't see him on Rumble.
I am in Randy's chat, Randy Agard on Rumble. I'm in Molly Sleuth on Rumble. I see Big Hair Tsunami.
Hey, Ben.
And I'm also broadcasting on my baby sister Kate's channel, The Kate Awakening.
Yeah, I've got both of those up.
Okay.
I don't know why I don't see Ben's comments, but I see him on StreamYard. Do you guys see that on the comments?
I wonder. I'm also on YouTube. I don't know anything about anything. Now I've messed up my orders, so I don't even know what I'm looking at now.
This is an interesting conversation. You know what I love? I love that we disagree because, that makes it fun.
Listen, we had body-worn cameras. Actually, Randy, you and I left kind of like as the body-worn camera thing started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really mind. Like, for me, I consent. I waive my Fourth Amendment right. You could stick a camera right up my ass and follow me all day. I'm not doing anything.
We got our first one.
That's not a curse word.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to make it red too.
Red?
You're
so mean. I want to give more money to Olive.
Maybe I'll just make it colorful, actually. Okay, there we go.
Maybe it just gets brighter and bigger as it goes on.
It's going to change colors.
Okay, but so speaking of your rights, what do you think of this El Salvadorian prison stuff?
Bring back our criminals.
Did you guys see the videos of that? There's a YouTube video out there that shows what they do to these prisoners. It's incredible.
Yeah.
What do I think about it? I think it's pretty amazing.
I would argue.
I love that Molly and I don't agree on anything.
No, I'm not saying it is amazing, shock and awe, but we should have shock and awe here and now. Like,
I agree.
License plates and stuff, I feel is a disservice.
For people who didn't see the video, you can find. Maybe we should post it, but they take them in. They are in chains on their feet and their hands. They shave their heads. They all wear the same clothes. They monitor them from every angle. There are dozens of them in one big holding cell. Mm-hmm. They have one big, I don't know how many, like a 20-gallon thing for water in a little sink. And that's it. That's where they have to go to the bathroom and everything. So they're tough. It's a tough place.
Yeah.
What about that guy in Texas?
Texas?
Oh, that's right. Sheriff Arpaio.
Oh, Joe Arpaio. He was in Maricopa County, Arizona. Sheriff
0% recidivism. And I met one of his prisoners and he said, I'm not going to screw around. I'm not trying to go back to jail. Yeah.
I took a Playboy gangster crip to jail for some shenanigans, and he had been imprisoned. They just farm it out. Same thing as El Salvador. California just said, listen, we don't want all this nonsense. So they took a bunch of felons from California prisons and housed them with Sheriff Joe Arpaio in the pink underwear with the green bologna sandwiches and the whole bit. And he said the same thing. He's like, I don't want to go back there. But I think at some point it could be argued that it could be a violation of your Eighth Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, I think
because okay, so I rob banks here. Like, you kind of know what the sentence for something like that would be. And so then, like, you're going to ship me to a foreign country because here we have conjugal visits. I'm allowed to, all these like horrible, murderers and stuff that have these girlfriends that write them in prison that can come and marry them and get conjugal visit. I mean, it's out of control. I totally think that American prison is Club Med for some of these guys. In fact, some of these guys prefer it because They don't have to pay bills. They don't have to deal with their baby mama yelling at them. They don't have to deal with, the pressures of society, which is why there's such a huge recidivism rate, because they get out in the real world and they can't hack it. But I do, just human to human, have, empathy towards people. And I don't think that people should be unusually punished. But I do think it's gotten out of control with American prison. Now, do you farm it out to people who don't give a S about you, and that you all go piss in the same bucket and get your head shaved and all this stuff? I think
you have to remember who these people are, though, and what they've done.
I agree, but
they're not American citizens.
Even if you've done something awful, that doesn't mean that I can, because Randy and I took some pretty bad people to prison, to jail, arrested them. And it doesn't matter what they did. It's not my responsibility to MF them and tell them you're going away for a long time. And I'm going to tell your wife that you were cheating on her and give them a twist on the wrist as I put him away. He did what he did. He goes where he goes. We are law enforcement. We're not some kind of punishment crew. So I think because they can't see their friends and family anymore, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be people that are going to argue that this is a violation of their 8th Amendment against cruel and unusual punishment, because they were sent someplace where they don't have the same access, they don't have the same benefits, they don't have the same structure that they would have been promised, where they did the crime in this jurisdiction, that they should be granted prison in that jurisdiction. So
they were being deported, and Venezuela would not take them. So El Salvador said, "We'll take them."
Yeah. Well, El Salvador, they're ballers, and he's that guy's got.
So I feel like it's a different situation than American citizens who are not. They're not being deported. They are.
So what happens to them after that? Because if they're not El Salvadorian citizens either, so okay, you've done your time. Your 25 years is over.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now where do they go?
Yeah.
So,
well, I do know the Trump administration has just yesterday put out a notice to Venezuela. My dog's eating, if you hear some crazy sounds, to Venezuela, that they have to start taking their folks back. These people, Trump today said they cut off the fingers of a guy who tried to call the police. So,
wow.
Yeah. These are some pretty heavy duty guys, and
there's still places that cut your hands off for stuff. Circle of One is in the Molly Sleuth chat. I forget what country it is, somewhere like Finland or Denmark or one of those wacky places, but a lot of prisoners wind up going to what's basically a 1-bedroom apartment. Well, in California, they used to have this diversion program, and you'd be sent to these rehabs. And in fact, when I was working burglary, there was a rehab that was in this residential neighborhood, and this lady kept getting everything stolen from her open garage, and then she got the house broken into, and it's these guys would just watch her over their fence. They had a pool. These guys are all convicted of crimes, so they get sent to this house, and they're all renting rooms paid for by the government, in this house with a pool, and they have this 2nd-story balcony, and they're just staring, watching this poor lady who bought a house next to this place that turned out to be one of these halfway house kind of a things. And she's I'm terrified. What do I they stare at me. They're breaking into my place. They're stealing all my stuff. Yeah. And as a landlord, whatever, you could rent to traveling nurses and get a little bit of money, or you could get good government money by housing these halfway house dudes as they leave for the day to go break into houses all day, and then smoke a little meth and come back to go to sleep before head count. So, but the pool didn't have a slide. Circle of One, you are funny. They did not have a slide. I don't know if they had a hot tub. I might have committed a crime if they had a hot tub. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
It's a hot tub.
Who's that pretty guy, Nevs? You're not going to introduce?
This is my dog, Oliver. Yeah.
Oliver.
He's my boy.
So cute.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty happy they're out of our country. After Trump said 21 million illegals came in, and I wonder what percentage of them were hardcore criminals like this. One of the reporters asked, how do you know that they aren't innocent? So he said they're doing heavy vetting before they're sending them to Gitmo or to El Salvador. I guess those guys were heavily vetted, and they're the worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to add to this. One of the lies that they try to push is we're a nation of immigrants, which we are, migrants, illegals, undocumented. They just mix everything up and they're like, you guys don't want immigrants here. We absolutely love to have immigrants here.
That's a spin.
But it's the problem with these guys, it's the way they do things. Like, yeah, everybody just come in. And then when someone's cutting someone's fingers off, it's like, no, don't send them away. Bring back our, I want to say the R word, but bring back our murderers. And it's like, how do you do the mental gymnastics to say the person who's a productive member of society is the same as somebody who cuts somebody's fingers off? Like, you have to make the differentiation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I just think of it, instead of thinking of it as like a country, you're having a party at your home. And like, who do you want at the party? Do you want the people that RSVP'd and brought a present and, are going to mingle and get along with your other party goers? Or do you want the guy that just like throws open the door and says, these cupcakes are trash and whatever. And it's like, bro, nobody invited you. Like, it's super disruptive. And I think, I look back on some of my friends that have gotten citizenship, Monica being one of them, and that you knew, Randy. And I mean, she went through so much to get citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
It was very expensive, and she had to prove that she was never going to go on welfare, and that she had a job waiting for her, and that she had skills, and that she was going to play nice at the party. And I don't know. I just think of people who just come in and go, oh, you have a system for people that want to like come in the party? Like, forget that. I'm just going to bust the window and go in that way. Like, that's not the kind of party that we want. Maybe he's a pastry chef, though, and he just doesn't appreciate the Walmart cupcakes. It's just like those rocket scientist illegal aliens.
Or maybe somebody paid him to come in to burn your house down.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is.
I like Walmart cupcakes, Circle of One. The more garbage the cupcake, the better. More chemicals poured into the pan, the better.
Well, you know what it comes from is so you have a person, and that person's good, and they make a good family, and that good family makes a good community, makes a good society, makes a good nation, makes your nation a home. So you have people who are like, I don't care about any of that. This nation is not my home. Borders are just a line on a map, and they're like, whoever wants to come in, come in. And those are the people who go down there and say, hey, come to America, it sucks. And that's what confuses me. You hate America. Why are you telling people to come here?
So, Randy, remember when I lived in Koreatown in LA before I moved to the Midwest? And like my block was all renters. And it was all trashy cars with drunk guys sleeping on lawns and garbage everywhere and graffiti. Wow. And you would walk one block south, because that's where the parking was, in front of all the homeowners' houses that have a driveway that they're parking in. And so I would park in front of people's homes. And those neighbors, one block south of me was all manicured lawns. The graffiti was painted over. The cars weren't left for dead. Nobody was sleeping in cars. And it's one block away. And it really is the difference between ownership and rental. And I feel like unless you want to become a citizen, you don't have ownership over this country, and you're going to treat it like Koreatown trash instead of these Koreatown homeowners.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It was a really stark, I mean, Randy, you know, because you parked in my neighborhood many times, like
2 in the morning.
literally the difference between walking just one block was like, and DC's like that too. I don't know if you've ever been to DC, but you have really highfalutin fanciness with like some guy laid out in front that is thrown up on the sidewalk. So,
Oh, and also for the chat, I'm the second person in my family born in America. My whole family's immigrants. So
That's
I'm not
awesome.
coming. Yeah, I'm not coming from a place of heartlessness. Just do things correct. Like, you know why you're inviting them here, for cheap labor and votes. So
Yeah, we love immigrants. I mean, that's the fabric of our country.
yeah,
But
welcome.
people usually want to come here to contribute to society and not tear the country down. So big difference.
but I think that's why you have some sort of vetting process. And I think one of those is, do you want to be American? Do you want to make good at the party? Are you going to bring a dish to pass? Or are you just, where's the cupcakes? I need whatever, and start going through the drawers and steal something out of the bedroom. I think that's why you have to have some sort of, process for that.
Absolutely.
I mean, my mom's side of the family came over a million years ago. That's a whole story, but I am the direct descendant of Rebecca Nurse, who was the oldest witch killed during the Salem witch trials.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
my mom's, dad's, blah, 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 all the way up to Rebecca Nurse. And then my dad's side of the family had to flee. Borders have changed, but Austria, Romania, Hungary, Yugoslavia, it's all over the place. So we're not really entirely sure, but they had to flee because they were being religiously persecuted, and they came here as farmers and stuff. And so I'm not, although I am from Calabasas, California. Me personally.
We all are children of immigrants. Yep. My dad's side of the family came from England. My mom's came from Germany and Norway. So, yeah.
You know what? Immigration is awesome, perfectly fine. But you asked me what woke me up, Nevs. This forced migration on all Western cultures that they know about. Yeah,
yes.
it's in the agenda. Like, let's switch up these society. Like, look what's going on in Ireland, Germany,
UK.
I think UK. Poland was like, we're not playing this with you guys. And forced migration is not the same as immigration.
Exactly. And I was just watching a video yesterday of a little village in Ireland where there's like did you see that? 2,000 people. And they came and took over the village. They blocked the road that they use and put up a wall around this like compound to store illegal immigrants out in the middle of nowhere. And all the residents are just upset. It's crazy.
So there were residents that now were kicked out of their homes, or they were put within the confines of this wall?
They took part of the village. I don't know what Ireland has, if they have some kind of eminent domain or something, but they took part of the village and built a makeshift place for immigrants to stay. There's a lot of immigrants. Like, that town's only got 3,000 people, and I think they said they brought 2,000 immigrants there.
Oh, wow.
And they blocked off their main road that they use. If you look at there's a video. It's like, it looks like a dirt road. I mean, it just looks like out in the middle of nowhere, a peaceful, quiet place that has completely changed.
It was like beautiful, lush countryside. They destroyed all of it, and they put up these. It looks horrible. And then you have to show ID to get in. The law enforcement is cool with the illegals, but they're not cool with the citizens. It's just
wow.
Yeah, and they're calling the citizens racist.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's crazy.
Back in that Koreatown apartment complex, they took down a few apartment buildings directly across the street from my apartment building. And all those people got paid thousands of dollars to relocate. Boy, did I live on the wrong side of the road. And then they put in a school. And so you just had screaming and bells. And then all of a sudden, my neighbors started housing on the Megan's Law website a bunch of registered sex offenders directly across from the playground that these guys wanted to move. And it was like, what is going on? This was just apartments. And I had to go to the planning meeting for the school. And I was like, wait a minute, but you got all those sex offenders across from the playground. Like on the Megan's Law website for California, I think it's called something different for Michigan. Actually, I just printed out that, I don't know, maybe I won't say anything. The crack house that I just moved out of, which has made me homeless, the guy that lived directly beneath me was a registered pedo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He creates a lot of 911 calls, but I'll save that. So anyway, so they had all these registered sex offenders across from where they were planning to put the playground. So I went to the planning meeting and I'm like, what's going to happen? Because a lot of these little kids, I mean, this was like a poor area of Los Angeles. And yes, these kids are 6, but they walked to school by themselves. Like, are we going to have security to be able to safeguard these kids as they come and go from school, as they walk past this area? And I think, I don't remember how many lived there, but I think if you have more than 5, you get a big square instead of a little dot on the map. And it was a big square. And so then they just tried to hush me up at the school meeting. And so then I just like raised my hand again and I said the whole thing in Spanish, because it was like, wait a minute, like these parents need to know. These are their kids. Like, I get that you want to put in your school and you want to knock down these apartments and you want to, build your thing and not have any pushback. But like, I'll make signs in Spanish and go stand out front. Like, it's like, these are kids that you have to protect. Mm-hmm. And so they put up like screening so that you couldn't watch from the first floor. You could only go to the second floor to watch them. But I mean, I don't know. Can't win every war.
No, you can't win every war, but you can try to prevent stuff from happening. I just noticed my headline was up and yours wasn't, so I just took it off.
Oh, I just don't have a headline. I'm not that cool. One says destroy cultural heritage and traditions, destroy cultural national identity. It's weaponized social engineering.
Globalism is, I'm not going to get religious with you guys, but when the Tower of Babel came down, it was about, they were trying to do globalism. Everybody, we all speak the same language, we're all on this, and all cultures are not created equal. And for the knuckleheads who don't understand, culture doesn't mean skin color, it just means how we do stuff. It's This is my corporate culture, this is my neighborhood's culture. And when I say not created equal, Nazi culture is not created equal to our culture of freedom and liberty. So you might have a culture that says, oh, we crap on women, or women are secondhand citizens, or we don't like your religion. The 3 of us, you don't get to mix with us. We're going to build a community, and we're like, you can't come to the party and pick the muffins over. So that's what they're trying to erase with Ireland, and they're just trying to erase Western culture. That's all.
Yeah, I think Ben's statement is spot on with that. Destroy the cultural heritage. It's intentional. It's intentional what they're doing.
What do you 2 guys and the chat think the goal is, or the agenda?
What do we think, or people in chat?
Both of you, you, Molly, and the chat. Like, what does
everyone think? Let Molly go first. I'm very opinionated, so.
Oh no, that's good.
I don't. That's a really hard one to answer, because I think for me, like, watching so much hypocrisy, you can't be that dumb. Are you that much of a liar? Or are you that dumb? Like, I think I'm still trying to answer that question about so much of what they do and how they flip-flop on everything. Just take the Teslas, for example. Like, oh, we all need to go to e-vehicles. Oh, climate change, we need to stop the cow farts and put, these muzzles on the cows so that they don't ingest as much air, so they don't fart as much. And now it's like, you're going to light an e-vehicle on fire? Like, so I guess that's a hard one to answer. Like, what is the purpose of all of it? I mean, to me, like, the only thing I could come up with is just like chaos and felonious idiocy, because I don't see a goal that they're like going towards.
I do. I think there's a lot of organization in the chaos, and I do feel like they're definitely trying to. They've always been trying to like take Trump down. You have to ask why. And I think it's really important to go through, like, you do a root cause analysis and then follow all the money and do your digging and stuff like that. But I'm, looking up at the 100,000 foot level, there's definitely an agenda to destroy this country. And why would they want to do that? Well, they want to do that because they do want to usher in a more global government. The problem with that is what would come with that would be a lot of control. If you just look at what the WHO put out there, they wanted us to sign a treaty where the World Health Organization would be able to quarantine U.S. citizens or mandate lockdowns or mandate, that you take medications. And that's what would happen if we move to a more global government. But that's their goal. This is why there's color revolutions in other countries, why they are pushing migrants into the UK, all the Western countries. It's not just the United States. It's a problem in all Western countries. They are after that goal. They want that global government. That's the way I see it.
I think there are tiers, though, although there might be people at the top that want that. The average a-hole that's throwing something through the window of a Tesla dealership, I don't know that they're on the same path.
No, they just want some money.
Like mindless.
Yeah,
minions.
they're just being used.
I don't think they even know that they're being used. I think they think that they're like fighting the good fight. And I
don't think they care because they just need their money to pay their bills.
But like the government gives out, the average California welfare recipient makes $65,000 a year in benefits to not go to work. So I don't know.
What?
Oh yeah, that was like in 2012. Yeah.
I met a guy making $75,000, and he was a homeless panhandler. He had $1,500 in his pocket when I spoke to him.
Yeah, and then they always do like under the table jobs too. And
we have a troll that you need to get rid of.
I don't know how to really get rid of him because I am not
a
moderator on. I'm not a moderator on that.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some loser. See, this is why we need these three are real brain surgeons. Sir, you're the idiot. I think he just got not a troll. We know Average Joe Patriot. I love you. Why are you always on at 4 a.m? Are you a vampire? Honestly,
Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe.
You're doing a show on like Saturday or Sunday. And he's like, oh, let me do you a solid. We're going to start it at midnight. Like,
he's on Kate's channel and Ben is on your channel. We're keeping track of you guys. We love you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's a marriage of stupidity and evil. I always say that.
I like that.
Oh yeah. So you have these elites, and being elite is not evil. It's just evil elites are trying to do everything you said, Nevs. You're absolutely right. And then to Molly's point, these useful idiots. Oh, I'm fighting the good fight. Yeah, but you're fighting for everything contrary to, like this troll. He's probably disregard. I'm starting to get upset. Stupid people make me so angry. But anyways, yeah, just a marriage of stupidity and but you can kind of see it starting to come apart because when the California fires happened, a lot of the lower people on that side were laughing at the people who lost their houses. So for you guys who are virtue signaling, they laughed at you when you lost your homes. And we didn't even laugh at them. We're like, we feel bad for what happened to you guys. And they're like,
absolutely.
success is a sin. So we're happy that you lost all your stuff. And that's who you guys are fighting for.
Yeah. And some people actually have been, I don't want to use this term because I feel like it's overused and it's maybe not this extreme. I don't know if it's brainwashing or indoctrination. It's in my family, actually, very close to me. And so I think some of it is they really do, like, when back in COVID, when this girl was in an elevator wearing a mask and somebody came into the elevator without a mask, she went hysterical. And, we were all making fun of it and shared the video around. But at the same time, like, my heart broke for her.
Yeah.
Because
real.
She really was feeling that way. And it was sad. And so I think some of this stuff too, like some of the people backing, like immigrants coming in, that I think they don't have maliciousness in their heart. They're really feeling like, oh, we should be allowing people into our country. And it's not like we're not. We just don't want them coming in illegally. We want to prevent those criminals from coming in. We need people to be vetted. We love immigrants. So I think some people are in the middle and a little bit indoctrinated, perhaps.
One of the GoFundMes that I saw was this girl she had gotten a couple $1,000s already, which means there are people that agree with her or her cause.
Is that one of your GoFundMes?
No, I didn't nominate her.
Okay.
There were too many to choose from. But this girl is gathering money to buy HEPA filters and like air filters so that you can be safe at punk rock shows. Like, if you want to gather and mosh together, like maybe air cooties aren't your worst problem.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
It's a strange one.
And it's so weird because, like, to me, punk rock is about questioning status quo. And now it has become such a like lockstep, you must all think this way.
Yeah.
Punk rock.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I do feel bad for these people that are still like wearing the mask at the grocery store. But I do have to say, because I usually send pictures to my friend Rod of their shopping carts, because it's always like Oreos and Diet Coke and stuff. And it's like, do you care about health or do you not care about health? Because at least I just wholeheartedly, I lick the doorknobs and eat the Taco Bell. I'm consistent.
You like the doorknobs and eat Taco Bell? Oh my goodness. Did you know that I'm a third grader? I sound like I'm a third grader, according to the troll in chat.
There really are a lot of trolls going on.
What's going on tonight? I haven't seen that, like with your show. Have you had trolls?
I haven't either. Yeah.
Am I bringing the trolls?
Nevs.
Nevs.
That's a surprise that you had for me. I actually love trolls.
Look at you're doing so good.
I know.
For people
really
who didn't join us in the beginning, I'm tracking all
yes.
of Molly's swear words, and she's only done one so far.
Yeah, let's see if it fucking works.
Oh, wow.
You just got a 2. You just got.
That was worth the $1.
Oh.
No, I think it's so funny that like that this troll or this fool would be. So I was raised by drag queens in the Hollywood nightclub scene, and the fact that this person or persons is spending their night on me is such a compliment. Like,
thank you.
Nobody, and you only have so many nights in your lifetime.
And it's Friday.
You are going, it's Friday. You could be making out with somebody in front of the TV, but you are spending your night like getting blocked by Average Joe Patriot on some losers podcast. So thank you so much for the compliment. It's just fantastic. If I could find a way to monetize losers, trust me, I'll be getting Nevs count sky high. Oh, speaking of losers, I promised this story to Ben. This one goes down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Okay, here we go. A story for Ben.
This is how it started. Okay. So Courtney Love has decided that she has renounced her U.S. citizenship. She's going to move.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's going to move to the UK where everything is hunky-dory. They don't have any problems there. I don't know if you... Apparently, she doesn't get the news. But anyway. So she's going to move to the UK because she says that it's frightening here. Like, I can't handle... I was an actor for only 26 years, so I really don't know what I'm talking about. But let me explain something to you. There are
Ben wants to know if you called him a loser.
No.
No. Did Molly just call me a loser? No, I said, speaking of losers, I had a story for Ben about a loser.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, Ben.
Hey, Randy, speaking of which, that movie that Ben recommended, that what was it? Fury. Can't think of it. That ninja movie with the hat.
I don't know. I don't follow ninja movies.
Kung Fury. Ben.
Oh, Kung Fury.
Was it Kung?
Kung Fury.
That's it's good. You got to do it. It's aliens, it's dinosaurs and Vikings and lasers and cops and kung fu and explosions. It's a good time. It's only like half an hour, so even your attention span can handle it. No, Circle of One is definitely not a loser. Definitely not. Yeah, Kung Fury.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. I should link it someplace. It's on YouTube for free. And then I shared Challenge of the Lady Ninja, which happens to be my favorite ninja movie. My favorite ninja film. Let's not call it a film. They make a prostitute into a ninja, and she goes to avenge a death, and hilarity ensues, and there's a lot of bikinis and stuff going on. It's just a fantastic movie. But Kung Fury, I think they were definitely... He knew what he was doing. I think Challenge of the Lady Ninja was trying to be a serious movie, and I think that's why it's like funny to me. But anyway.
Well, Ben says that he was joking. He's actually a huge loser.
Huge loser.
I can't speak tonight, Ben.
Oh darn! I think I complimented the troll, and then they laughed. It really meant thank you. Thank you for being a loser. Come back.
Thanks for being a loser, troll.
Okay, back to this loser, because I promised this stupid story. Okay, so I worked for her a couple of times.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I have met a lot of stars in my day. I don't get starstruck. I don't care. It's a job just like anything. In fact, to me, acting is like just so... I don't know why we put these people on pedestals and say that they have talent. Like it literally is like, you get a script and you're told what to say and where to stand, and they light you and put music to you and do your makeup.
It's not like they're writing music.
Right. You're like a block of tofu. That is what you are. Somebody has some creative vision and you are just the block of tofu that has to taste like what they need. So I'm not really sure that I'm like super into the industry as a total, although there have been celebrities who have been just fantastic and really cared about the other like talent on set and stuff. And then there were people that were just like a-holes, and like I played drums for Elton John, and I was told that I was not allowed to look at him. I was like, I'm the drummer. Like I have to see, I've never heard this song in my life before, and now you need me to like pretend that I know the song. I need to see the changes. Tell him not to look at me. Anyway, that was dumb. It's the Heart of Every Girl video, and I know you're all going to go click on it later, and you can make fun of me. I don't care. But yeah, so you do a lot of music videos as an actor because it's like easy money and it's easy to get hired. And so a lot of us kids were doing a lot of music videos back in the 90s. And so this was the first time that I worked for this particular a-hole was this video. And let me see. So this is my butt. Wow. There we go. This one, the arched butt here. So we show up for this video. You don't know anything about it. Most of the time, I don't even know who the band was. I actually knew who Hole was because I had Hole CDs or records, whatever. But we show up to this stupid show and they hand us each a thong underwear. And we're like, where's like the rest of the outfit? Like, what are we doing here? Oh, you're going to get a wig. It better be a big wig. So like we have these wigs that like barely cover our stuff, whatever. And it was freezing. And we had like this fan behind us that's like blowing the wig a little bit to like make us look more alive. And we're like standing on this platform and our head has to be like at the platform, which is the stage that Courtney is standing on. And we're like holding on to each other like this. So we're like really off balance. We're only on one foot with our head touching the roof. And she kept jumping on it, knowing that it was whacking us in the head. Just a terrible person. I don't even know where the story goes, but it'll go into the death of her hubby. She was awful to us. And I mean, we're like naked. We're here for you. Nobody cares about, you at all. We're here for money. But like, this is the whole purpose of this entire building is to promote you, sweetheart. And so she just like kept leaving the stage and saying like, I need oysters. And then she would walk off until somebody could find oysters for her. This particular director is a woman by the name of Nancy Bardwell. And I had worked for her several times. And she, even though I almost got kicked off a set this day.
Wait a minute.
She did hire me back. Nancy Bardwell did. Actually,
maybe that's a story for another day, but I have to hear that story.
I mean, I'll tell it. I don't care. So she was being so mean, and she was saying she wanted to hear some band. I don't remember what it was, but she kept walking off set, and then she was smoking, and you're not allowed to smoke on a soundstage. This was at, I think it was Raleigh Studios, just on the south side of Melrose, between like Vine and Western. I don't remember, but on the south side of the street. I can't remember what that studio was named, but she was smoking and the fire inspector came over and was like, you can't smoke on the soundstage. And she goes, then I guess you're going to wait for me. And she walked outside and it's like, everybody's there. We're all in place. We're all here to make you look like a star, sweetheart. And you're such an a-hole. And so the assistant director on this one was a guy by the name of Rod something or other. And I had worked with him before on Mr. Show with Bob and David. Which was a comedy show on HBO that was the funniest guys ever. And so you needed somebody really straight-laced to keep the, filming on time. Otherwise, like all the jokes and everybody's like going off on certain things. So Rod was that no-nonsense guy that was like, all right, lock it up. We need to do this, whatever. So at some point, Rod says, okay, we're moving in for Courtney's beauty shots. And then I said out of the side of my mouth, send in the stand-in, because I was being a dick at that point. Because I kept leaving my little platform and like walking off and like singing the stupid song, third from the right, like as if like anybody.
Hey, can you hold that up again? Okay, so Ben says that is ramen noodle wigs.
Yes, it's true. And then there were all these girls. I'm having such a hard time with my left and right. There were these like girls that were spinning down. This is a girl by the name of Tracy Phillips, I think. We were all actresses, although she was gorgeous and talented and she could sing and do everything. I could just be naked with a ramen wig on. But Tracy, we worked on a bunch of videos together. In fact, she's the one floating in the black balloon video for Goo Goo Dolls, which you can see me picking my wedgie at the beginning of the video. That's me and my butt. Well, she's like the beautiful girl that's like dead in the pool and I'm picking my butt. Anyway, so I kept like leaving my thing and like singing the stupid song, third from the right, like as if there was like the video was about me. Because Courtney was like not on set. Somehow I had this Miss Piggy Pez dispenser. I don't know where it came from, but I was passing out like Courtney pellets to everyone, like between takes. And then at some point the Pez dispenser got crushed and it ended up on the craft service table. I don't know how that happened, but she didn't like me very much. So when Rod said it's time to move in for Courtney's beauty shots, And I said, send in the stand-in. Courtney left the stage and went over to Nancy Bardowell and was like, I want her out of here. And Nancy Bardowell was like, but there's like 8 platforms and there's 8 girls and like, we can't like, whatever, we can't like, just like leave a platform empty and, like it ruins the whole set. We don't have a stand-in, another girl to like, whatever. And so she said basically to cut us all out of the video. And Nancy was like, okay. And this week, because this whole conversation came out because of this stupid article, was the first time I've actually watched it. And I was like, oh, we weren't cut out like at all. Like I could tell that's my butt. So that was funny. But actually, Nancy Bardowell kept telling, I think her name was Melissa. And Melissa ended up being like a bigger star later because she left this band and took off. And the bass player before that was like killed mysteriously in some heroin situation. And Courtney didn't like that the previous bass player, Kristen Pfaff, I don't remember her name, but she died right after Kurt did. And the whole Kurt Cobain murder, well, Susie side, was something that people still talk about because people didn't believe that he did it. And initially, Courtney had told law enforcement that her live-in nanny, a guy that I went to school with, and I dated his little brother. So this whole story is so stupid.
Wow.
This is what happens when you grow up in Los Angeles. You kind of just like know everyone. So this guy, they called him Cali, maybe because he was from California. He moved up there and he's called the Kato Kalin of the grunge scene. He basically lived with Courtney and Kurt and took care of their little girl. Oh, and their little girl, she was tiny. I don't know how old she was, maybe 5, 6, small, like big enough you could manipulate, but like young enough that she didn't really know what she was doing. And Courtney told her on this shoot, show everybody what I taught you. And her little girl gives us the middle finger. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that poor little girl. She was such a monster. So this was a 2-day shoot. And I think the first day we were there 16 hours or something. And then the second day, and then after like the first day, they were like, okay, you guys are coming back tomorrow. Give us all your thongs. We'll give them back to you tomorrow. Like, no, I want to make sure I get the same thong back. You're not like throwing these in a big old pile. And
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
And I'm not going to get Taryn's. Taryn ended up, she did a lot of commercials after that, but she's probably embarrassed about this because she was like a legitimate actress now. But anyway, that was just like absolutely hellacious. But so Courtney had said that this guy that I went to high school with, this guy, Mike DeWitt, although they call him Callie, he must have done it because he wanted to be with me. Like, first of all, Mike DeWitt was gorgeous. He had this whole like skater punk aesthetic and he got the most beautiful girls. He always had this like, great girlfriend. He had a girlfriend at this time. There's no way that, she was trash. Like, there's no way. I will just I haven't seen Mike DeWitt in 400 years, but I will give a character reference that guy could get a lot hotter and has. So anyway, after that shoot, they had called my agency and said that they wanted me to work for her again. I was like, hell no, I will never work for her again. She was awful. And they wanted me to do AI. This is like before AI was AI. It was really like CGI, like terrible, like cheesy. And I said, hell no, I'm not working for her. She's terrible. And my agency said, they picked you specifically. They saw your, stuff. They want some like dominatrix fairy in a corset with big boobs to be like a bunch of fairies that are going to be like swirling around her coffin in some video. And so my agent said, so you'll be the first one to dance on her grave. And I was like, okay, I'm getting a little more interested. Like, I don't want to work for her though. And so, there's like a close up of my face. You can kind of tell that's me in her video. So my agency said, well, half of the money comes from the record label, but half of them comes from her. And I said, good, then double my rate. And then I'll do it. Oh, well, double your rate. Like, then no, I don't need to do this. I don't need to be. So anyway, they gave me a handsome sum of money. And I took all these like pictures of just like flapping my arms in various like lengths, and then they turned me into a dominatrix fairy.
Oh, jeez.
Like a bunch of them, and I guess I'm like, she's in a glass coffin or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Oh
she's
my
Mabel,
goodness.
and I don't know where that whole story started from, but
It started from her wanting to leave the country.
sayonara.
Are you happy she's leaving?
I don't really care. I mean, I don't like. Here's the thing: every day she has to wake up and be her. So any
Exactly
put on her is moot at that point. But yeah, she is like. I guess it's just so funny because if you have that kind of money. I'm not going to say she has power and influence because I don't think that anybody really gives a shit about what she has to say. But if you have that kind of money, then you're not really affected by egg prices or any of this stuff. Like,
right.
Are you really even human? You know? But we were talking about, there's a good documentary on the whole Kurt Cobain thing called Kurt and Courtney. And you guys don't know punk rock, but there used to be this band called The Mentors. And this guy, El Duce, was the singer of The Mentors. And he was the most disgusting, depraved, degenerate, just a really dark, gross guy. And he gets interviewed. And he was interviewed multiple times. It's not just for the Kurt and Courtney thing, although that's probably the easiest way to find it. But you could probably just go on YouTube and find it. But he said straight up that she offered him $50,000 to whack Kurt. And he's like, I didn't think she was serious. I totally would have done it. And he would, like, if you were like, who should I find that can do this dastardly deed for me? And if you knew El Duce, like, that's what you would do. He was the guy.
So he's saying she offered him money, but he didn't do it. So she must have offered somebody else. Money?
And then El Duce, I think he says this guy Alan, but nobody really knows. But like 2 days after that was published from El Duce goes and walks off with some guy that they had never seen before and didn't know who was. And what had happened was they found him decapitated. So in a train accident that he was like walking along the train tracks drunk, and somehow, as you do, he got decapitated. But yeah, I don't know.
That's us.
Conspiracy theories because I think they make you think, and I think they make you question. I don't know that I believe everything on earth, but they say that she was really good friends with the coroner that did the autopsy findings on both Kurt and El Duce, I think.
Really?
Oh, no, it wasn't El Duce. It was Kristen Pfaff, the old bass player that Courtney was upset about. God, why is everything what part of my brain is being taken up by this superfluous knowledge that I could be using for good? Kristen Pfaff was the old bass player, and she was like classically trained. She was really good. She was in this band, Janitor Joe or something like that. And she was like actually a musician, trained and had a life and could go on and do other things. But she said that she would help Courtney for a little while. And then, Kristen was friends with Kurt Cobain, and they would like talk on the phone a lot, and he like would give up really nice possessions and books, and they would talk about, life and bigger stuff than Courtney Love, who used to be a stripper at Jumbo's Clown Room on Hollywood Boulevard. So they were just like not at the same level, these two people, and she had gotten clean, and she was just going up to Seattle real quick to like get her shit because she was going to start a new life. And supposedly Kurt had made statements that he was also going to leave and go to the East Coast. And so then the tall guy from Hole, whatever that guy's name, Eric, whatever his name is, he was like the last one that was seen going in with her. She was totally clean, supposedly didn't want to do heroin anymore. He goes in and comes out, and the next morning she's found dead, overdose. And so everybody says that he's the one who did it, and that he did it for Courtney. Like, I don't know that these people are like that sophisticated that they could come up with this like whole scheme. Just a lot of sad things happen when you're around drug users, and unfortunately it makes you a lot more at risk for some really bad things happening to you. But as for El Duce, I don't know. That guy was gross. I sent him a letter. He was in Maximum Rock and Roll or something looking for somebody. And I sent him my ex-boyfriend's address and asked him for a pair of dirty underwear. I don't know if he ever sent it, but.
Oh my God.
Yes, yeah. He was that guy. He was gross. And that was in front of the Rock Shop, which was on Hollywood Boulevard. And there was this guy, Buzz, who was in this band, Godrod, and he worked at the Rock Shop. And he was like way too old for me because we were still in high school. My friend Melissa and I used to drive to the Rock Shop and just like go stare at him lovingly. And we had such crushes on this guy, Rod. I don't know what happened. God Rod was the name of his band. Buzz was the guy. And I had a big crush on him.
You know, I lived in California for a while, and my brother is out there. He's been out there since as soon as he graduated high school. He went out to California, so he's been out there forever. And he's like you, where he knows some people, you know. And he told me, in order to make it in the industry, you have to be nuts. You have to be a little bit nuts, a little bit crazy to be an A-lister.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was never an A-lister, so.
No, I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm just saying, you know, because he knew some big people, and he's like, yep, you got to be a little bit out there. And, you know, now that after all these years, when since 2017, when we've been doing all this research and finding out what's been happening in Hollywood and everything, now I get what he was saying. I didn't really get it when he told me that like 20 years ago. I get it now. So
yeah, I think it is. It's a weird biosphere, and I think that when you tell these people that they're like better than the average person because they can read a script and like stand in a light, like I don't know, that must do something to you.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever took it that seriously. I remember this one time I was doing this TV show called Judging Amy with Tyne Daly, and she was like this big actress that had won awards and stuff. And my job is, I don't know anything about the show. I know that my job is to walk into this scene. We see a guy. I make a sarcastic comment about him wearing a suit, and that's supposed to make her feel away. I don't know. I don't care. That's my whole job. We walk into the scene. I go, who's the suit? And that's it. But I guess she was like a social worker. And I guess if I had read the whole script, which I didn't, she had helped this guy. And now he comes back to her work to show him he's made it and he's in this suit. So when I go, who's the suit? Then she looks at him and goes like, oh, you know, I did that, whatever. I don't care. So we're like behind the scenes and we're about to do our thing. And she's playing a social worker. And I guess I'm playing one of her like people that she has to help. And so she's asking me, we haven't like said action or anything. And she's like, how are the kids? And like, she wants to like act with me. And I'm like, they haven't even like said action yet. We don't have to be those like characters yet. Like, I'm just like, I don't get it. I'm not a, you know, my job is who's the suit. That's my job.
My job is I'm going to start calling you who's the suit.
Well, I sort of felt, I don't know. It stuck out in my mind because it's like, there are jobs that you just like don't take that seriously. Like Randy, when we were cops, like there are sometimes when you have to like go and like tell a party to like shut up, and you're like, this is like some Karen called. Clearly somebody wasn't invited to the party. Like it's not that serious. Like you have to act like, oh, this is serious. Your neighbor's called, and then you're just like, this is dumb. I just feel like the whole world is acting, and I just don't think it's a special skill. It's probably why I'm not doing it anymore. Nobody was hiring me anyway. My tapes were on TV, I tell you.
Well, speaking of Hollywood, Ben said that Courtney sounds like she's making a run for Hill Dog's body count.
We'll see. If they start dropping like flies in the UK, we know.
Yeah, it's you know, maybe she'll come back here one day because, you know, Rosie O'Donnell left too. And she said she's going to apply for her citizenship in Ireland, I think it was, that Rosie went to.
Yes, Ireland.
She said, but if things change in the United States, in other words, if Trump's no longer in office, she'll consider coming back.
Do they not understand how term limits work? Like, you're going to sell a house to come back in 3.5 years.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange.
I mean, if you have that kind of money where you can sell your house for 3.5 years and come buy a new one, then like, do you really care about the price of eggs?
However, if JD Vance gets in office, then maybe she'll stay there. So we really need to vote for JD Vance. We don't need Rosie back here.
It's because
Randy
of how
and I
they
were
feel.
Democrats.
Yeah,
What,
it's because of how they feel. It's not what reality is. It's because their feelings were hurt by Trump, and that's what they're going off
TDS.
of.
It's TDS.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is real. But to what Molly said, 44-year Democrat, 44 years. How long were you a Democrat, Molly?
I don't really know when. I know I voted for Perot the first time that we could vote. Randy and I are the same age. Because he was like the punk rock guy.
Yeah, he was a third party candidate, wasn't
he? And so I don't know. I don't know that I even voted every time. I didn't know really anything about politics until we were working LAPD, and Prop 47, Prop 57, and AB 109, like, just shocked the hell out of me as somebody who was prosecuting cases. And like, what do you mean kidnapping is no longer a violent crime? What do you mean carjacking is no longer a violent crime? And
is that what woke you up?
I don't think I paid, like, so I was punk rock, wanted to save the world through fanzines and music and art and, like, you know,
fanzines.
Yeah, you know, like but I mean, like, isn't this a fanzine? Like what we're doing? I feel like I'm the same person that I was when I was 15. I just don't look like this anymore.
Oh my. We should all get a picture of ourselves when we were 15.
I do have one of Randy somewhere, but I think you're,
18.
Yeah. So I think I always was interested in, like, saving the world in whatever way that I could, whether it was volunteer work. I started volunteering for LAPD after I had a boyfriend get robbed on the subway in 2005. And then I got dared to apply to be a cop, and I had fire engine red hair and was like, do I hang out with drag queens at like 3:00 in the morning dressed like a mermaid? Like, I don't think they're going to hire me. And they did. So I think that changed a lot, but I think I was always still that person. Like, before LAPD, I was getting signatures for, you know, permit parking and installing trees and speed bumps and just trying to save the world in my own little microcosm. And
can I ask both of you a question, since I have you both and you invited me? I'm super curious from your perspective of being police officers. So even though I support the blue line, the thin blue line and all of that, I definitely support all first responders. But what I can't get my head wrapped around is, and I want to know what you guys think of this, or how you think this happened, is how can police officers, like you see in the UK and Australia and in other countries around the world, even in Ireland, this video that I saw with these people with the migrants, how can the police, and I think Patty in our admin for Department of Winning, she showed us a video of what was happening in the Netherlands. How can the police be very quickly turn against the people just doing their job? I don't get it. I don't understand how they can do that. And I feel like you guys come from a very unique perspective, considering you were in the police force.
Yeah,
Do you want me to
Patricia
go first, or
did
you, Molly?
videos that she sent in the group chat, but so I don't know, Randy, if you want me to go first. But
I'll be shorter than you. So here's something Molly and I know. Every 10 years, just like the 80s, the 90s, the culture changes. So that goes for policing as well. What happened was the core of policing for these other places that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
what they ingested was, we don't want to investigate this group of people because we would rather allow the crime to happen than to be looked at as if though we were racist. So the grooming gangs, you asked what woke me up. I'm just going to say grapes instead of the other word. Remove the G. So these young men were doing what's called honor rapes in, I think, England or UK, wherever. And they wouldn't investigate them. What they would do was they would punish the girls, and they put up posters, don't wear bikinis or provocative clothing. And one of the girls, she was carrying a knife, and they're like, you can't carry a knife. And so she carried a box cutter. They're like, basically, you can't protect yourself.
Yeah.
So long answer short, from my point of view, and I'll let Molly go after, policing is your core beliefs presented in the form of policing. So for me and Molly, it's justice and law enforcement and common sense and ethics and morals and standards.
Mm-hmm.
For these guys, it's, oh, you told us not to look racist, or you told us identity politics, or you told us to judge off of their race or religion. And that's what they're doing. Now, Molly and I, we've taken our stands when we were cops, and we've said, we're not doing X, Y, and Z. You're just going to have to punish us. And how you get rid of cops like Molly and I is, hey, you better take that or else you're out of here. Or you better agree with such and such or you're out of here. Or your social media has you with a flag in the back, you're a radical, you're out of here. So that's my 2 cents. Molly?
As we both have flags in the back. That's not why we left. We talked about that on a couple of shows, but Randy temporarily left a convicted felon, which has now been totally expunged. So law enforcement is not common sense enforcement. You are given these parameters. This is against the law, and this is what you can do when that is against the law. For instance, in Michigan, where I live now, you can arrest somebody and take their car if they're not paid child support and take their driver's license away from them. Like, that's crazy to me. How is the guy supposed to like pay for child support if you take away his means of transportation to get to work?
Yeah.
And if he only works 5 days a week, why can't he go to the bar on Saturday with his friends? So I think there are things that, as law enforcement, you're not particularly in sync with, but it's your job. Just like if you fold T-shirts at the Gap and you're like, I don't think that guys should wear V-necks, like, you still have to fold the T-shirts, you know? So,
but I think the question I have is when the police are following orders that go against the law. So think about them
following orders.
Think about 2020 when they were burning down buildings here in Minneapolis. That's against the law. They weren't arresting anybody.
Yeah, so you get stand down orders. And so, I mean, Randy and I worked plenty of Lakers riots because win or lose, Lakers fans burn the city of Los Angeles every year. And so you follow orders. So at this time, we're going to let them take over the street, even though they don't have a permit. We're going to let them get in our faces, even though that's considered, battery if they touch you. We're going to let them escalate to this point. And it's sort of like parenting snotty children. I'm going to go to the grocery store and I don't care that you're crying and throwing things off of the shelf. Mommy needs to get her Swanson TV dinners, and we let you act up to a certain point, and then you get smacked on the ass as somebody's coming around the corner and goes, "Oh, you're hitting your child." Like, you didn't see 3 lanes of this shit escalate. So although the stuff that Patricia sent me is mostly, Randy, is like
COVID lockdown stuff. People weren't wearing masks.
Protests.
Oh, they were protesting. Yeah,
they were protests, and the officers had batons and they were hitting him, which looks bad, but the people were still getting up and fighting. And so, I mean, I've worked plenty of protests, and by the time that we take some kind of physical action, at least in terms of LAPD, it has escalated to a point of total lawlessness. And you do fear, and you're on a line, and there's only a few of us. You have like a couple of squads of people, and you've got thousands of people that are like acting like absolute a-holes. And I mean, in terms of other countries, I couldn't tell you, but in terms of LAPD, we were very clear about 835 APC, which gives an officer the legal right to use force to effect an arrest or to stop resistance. And back in the day, if somebody refused to sign a ticket, you could pepper spray them. Like, things have changed in the city of Los Angeles. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's been watered down even more, that like if somebody is doing something that's, to me, immediate defense of life, you have to, sir, please drop it, leave it alone, whatever. I don't know if you saw that video that's been making the rounds today of the guy in the old folks home, like running the chainsaw, and like there's all these old people that cannot get out of this room, and this guy's with the chainsaw, and they try to tase him, and it's not effective, and the guy's just running around like crazy, and they end up.
Whoa, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and so it's like he's calling for a backup, and he has his taser out, and he's like saying it over the air, like, I'm going to tase him. I need, step it up. I need, a backup, whatever, however he puts it for his jurisdiction. And it's like, the moment that guy starts to try to pull the chainsaw, he's dumped. Like, I'm not waiting to see if the chainsaw works. He's standing within like 4 feet of somebody in a wheelchair that cannot get out of there. So I'm not waiting, but you just don't know. Like, but then my friend Henry today sent me another video of like a traffic stop, and some guy just like walks up on the traffic stop and is starting to go towards the passenger side of this car. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm getting in the car or something. And he just shoots him right there. And he's like, I thought he had a gun. And like, well, you didn't give the guy commands, or like, I don't know. I wasn't in that officer's head. But Patricia and I had a long talk about this, about police. And basically, in terms of United States, we go by the Graham versus Connor, which is like what a reasonable officer with the same amount of training and experience would have done given the same situation. So although Randy and I have much different backgrounds, I could sit on his board and go, based off of what I saw, I would have shot the guy with the chainsaw too. Or based off what I saw, I don't know why you shot the guy that was trying to get in the car at the traffic stop. So,
yeah, I think more of, I think where my question stemmed from is seeing what I saw during COVID and more outside of the United States. I'm like, okay, I can see how the Holocaust happened because people were just following orders. And that's where I feel like there's a fine line.
Can I speak to that? So policing is more than just a badge and a uniform. So in Tijuana, I was in a bar and I seen 2 cops in there getting drunk. I was at the airport, and this Ethiopian lady, I found out after that she was Ethiopian. She's smiling. I'm like, what are you so happy about? And she's like, oh, in my country, the cops will follow you home, charge you for protection, and rob you in your house. So you get the type of policing that you as a community want. And for me, somebody breaking into my house, call the police. For the other side, they're like, it's just property, who cares? But, oh, you misgendered somebody, we should call the cops on you. Or school moms complaining about porn in their school, we should have the FBI look into that. If somebody has a pipe bomb, we can't find that guy, but, oh, these Canadian truckers, we think they're far-right extremists.
Yes.
So it's what they value versus what you value and who your cops are.
Or, oh, you posted a meme, so we're going to arrest you. Which actually happened.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should just go to show how good we have it here. that even though there are bad apples here, and I was sworn as a police officer in 2 different states, and I can tell you I had 2 very different experiences. And left that last one because they were lawless bullies. And I understood for the first time, being a punk rocker, coming from the city of Los Angeles with 10 million people, never understood why normal people would fear and distrust police. It's not that I liked them. It's just they're the cops. They do their thing. I try to stay out of their way. But I never understood fearing and distrusting police, just being behind you or just seeing them and just knowing that, like, they could do whatever they want to me and there's nothing I could do about it, until I worked for that second agency, which they were a bunch of a-holes. Now, there were good officers that worked there too, but as an organization, LAPD does everything they can to sniff out the bad apples and make a big show of getting rid of you. Whereas this other agency was just like, yeah, go get them. That's what, and then the good people that are coming to work are just like, this is not what this job should be about. So I don't know. I would say when you defund and you start valuing stupid things, arbitrary woke shit about, oh, this person's, this color, you should be an officer. Like, I think when you start to value the wrong things and you stop, paying them a living wage, then you're getting people that don't look at it as like a career that is honorable. You're looking at like people who are like bullies that want to get away with stuff, that have like a, social agenda or whatever. And like, you don't want that kind of person. I mean, the kind of people that they're hiring now, I don't know that I would want to sit in the car with for 12 hours.
Well, one of the excuses that they'll make is we never defunded them. You defanged them. So they show up to call scared, or Molly knows this. When you roll code 3, you get there as quick as you can. We had a code 3 call and these people showed up an hour later. I was a civilian at the time, and LAPD showed up an hour later on a code 3 call. And Wilcox to Hollywood and Argyle was like 2 minutes. You could run quicker than they got there.
Yeah.
But that came from, we don't want police. We want social justice warriors. So Nevs, you harmed Molly, but I like your religion, or I like your skin color, or I don't like Molly's skin color. So that's not justice. It's for the 2 of us in the chat, it's right and wrong. For these guys, it's, well, Nevs is more oppressed and Molly's less oppressed because she's part of this one community, and you don't want that kind of policing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I very much believe in equal protection for all, and I just think that kind of stuff has absolutely no place in law enforcement. But there are people who make bias policing complaints and all that kind of stuff, and it's a scary thing as an officer to have to defend one of those and to prove that I didn't see what color you were as you were blowing past me at 100 miles an hour in a school zone. It is a very scary thing to have to defend that. But,
well, Molly, you and I are not back to blue no matter who. Like, we've seen stuff and we're like, oh, hell no. Like, you got 2. So we have 2 tiers of justice, at least in California. Like, if I'm homeless and I'm on drugs, I can pull my pants down in front of you 2 ladies and claim that I'm something else. And I'm covered under the fact that I'm homeless. I'm covered under the fact that I belong to this one community and another community. You guys, you're in your privilege, so you can't say anything. And it's like,
right.
But then Nevs, she wants to go build something in her backyard. She's got to get permits and she's got to pay this tax.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
That's how you destroy a society.
It is.
Yeah, and they really are trying in LA. I mean, even just with the food trucks and stuff, like, you work so hard to get your little small business going and to pay for this rent and to pay for lights and to pay for insurance and to pay for employees and all this stuff and to get it in a good neighborhood. And then I just pull up with my truck and block your entrance and throw up a real bright light. And like, everybody's like, oh, what's that? Oh my gosh. And they come to my food truck and you stop making money. And so they put people out of business. Same thing happens with all the crap for sale that's on the sidewalks. Like, I'm just allowed to put my blanket out and throw all the stolen stuff that I took from everybody's cars and sell it on the sidewalk. And LA really has become this like lawless hellscape where they're not looking at cause and effect, and it's all those little things that put the good guy out of business. And then what do you have? You just have a welfare society. Because the year that I did that case that involved welfare fraud, that's how I identified these people, and found out that they make $65,000 a year in benefits. LAPD was hiring for $43,000 a year to wake up at 3:45 in the morning and put on a tiny little, plate to cover my 10 ring and hope that, the people screaming at me and throwing spears at me and calling me a fascist that want me to die because of my uniform, for $43,000 a year. And I could just sit at home and smoke weed and drive an Escalade for $65,000. So
remind me not to move back to California.
No, really don't.
Don't. For
Nevs,
sure.
It's even worse. It's so Molly knows this. I worked loss prevention, and it was right after We Love Criminals and We Hate Cops, and they would come in and they'd steal everything. And it's so funny what Molly just said. They don't understand cause and effect. So they said, do not stop them when they're stealing, or we're going to arrest you. This is my boss telling me this. We'll send the cops to come get you. Right after that, I quit. But anyways, so they know they're stealing. So it's basically their ATM. So they go get high because they just stole from there. I'm high now. Let me go back to where I was just stealing from. Oh, there's a bunch of 24-year-old Latinas here working here. Let me start terrorizing them. My job is to protect the people, not property. If you would have allowed me to stop them from stealing, they're not going to come back and I don't want to say the word, but bedroom fun with you do bad stuff to the girls. So they come back and do bad stuff to the girls. And it could have been all avoided had they listened to what Molly just said, cause and effect.
Yeah, I think it's like that broken window thing also. It's like sometimes you have to police the smaller stuff because it turns into bigger stuff. And I know AOC was talking about like, they just want bread for their babies. But the thing that you're not really looking at is like the average person, we're all paying more for everything we buy in that store because somebody stole the bread for their baby. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean they're going to have to keep stealing bread week after week after week after week until they go and get a job, teach a man to fish.
But Molly, one second. Funny story on that. Okay, my example is anecdotal, but it's a large enough sample size that it is maybe 2% stealing bread for their.
Yeah.
Like out of all of the thousands of people I watched steal, it was for drugs or because you're allowing me to steal.
Right. Or just greed. They want label
say, I want a sandwich? Maybe one person. Or greed. Like they go out and they later write it down like you said and they sell their goods.
I want a designer handbag or I want, makeup or they steal stuff to resell, the batteries, the Tide, all the stuff that they're
or just to see if they can do it too. Some people just get a kick out of it.
There are kleptomaniacs, but I think that's a pretty small percentage of the theft that goes on. But ultimately, we all pay for that. We are all subsidizing crime. We all pay more in car insurance because some drunk guy sideswipes some cars.
It's true.
We are all paying for everything that happens. Nothing gets absorbed. And so people think that there's like free stuff, but it's like even with, college or anything, is that we are all paying into this system that is giving away scholarships because you know how to put a ball in a hoop. So it's,
it's criminal. It's criminal communism. So they're stealing it, and it was $1. Now the three of us are paying $1.10. Oh my God! Is $1.10 really that serious? Yes, because it's not one item that I'm buying. I'm buying $300 worth of stuff and spending an extra $30. So they just made the three of us slaves because you're working for 1 hour, so Joe Cokehead can get his fix on.
Yep, and no, I have to tell you guys, if you think about it, what California put into law, where they're not going to arrest you unless you steal more than $900 or something like that,
950,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So this is all intentional, and all these businesses are leaving the state of California, and this all feeds into what I was talking about earlier, into what they want our country to turn into, because there's absolutely an agenda, and they're I'm going to go off on a tangent, but then we can get back to this. But everything ties together. Their whole agenda about 15-minute cities has nothing to do with the environment. Has nothing to do with the environment, even though that's what they say. It's all related to this that I brought up earlier, as far as having this globalist agenda mindset. They think they can have a utopia if they have one government, no borders, and that everybody just follows the same laws and all of that. So, but they're wrong. They're very wrong. People just naturally want to take control, and it would end up being a one world communist society. Right. Yep.
So, to your point, me and Molly have spoken about this. I call it granny. So globalism, race, agenda, narrative, ideology, emotions, and I'm missing a few letters. And so the purpose of granny is so that we can get this utopia that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the people pushing this utopia, most of the stuff is built on lies. That's number one, because they lie all the time about all this stuff. Yep. Number two, these are not smart people. Like the stuff they come up with, we're going to leave you LA. What'd you guys do at LA? We destroyed it. We're going to leave you New York. What'd you guys do at New York? We destroyed it. And they don't understand what Molly said, the simplest thing, cause and effect. They don't understand. I have another one, IROC, impact, results, outcome, consequences. How is that working out for you? Horribly. When you guys come up with stuff, it goes to crap. And the thing with them is, well, we feel like we're doing something. Dude, that doesn't work. Like, I just feel like I fixed the problem. Here, wear this mask. Well, the mask does not work. Just wear it. Don't stop asking questions. Stand 6 feet apart. Well, why? Because I feel like I'm doing something.
I think they were testing us with both of those, by the way, to see if society would actually, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
But don't you think they're making more people angry? Like, I feel like it's sort of like a runaway train and everybody's going to have to get off eventually. And so with each one of these like layers of stupidity, like more people go, oh, this doesn't make any sense. So I feel like people are waking up at different times. I feel bad for anybody waking up now because there's a whole lot to catch up on.
There's so much.
Yeah. And it's got to be overwhelming. And we have to have a lot of compassion for people who are waking up now. I mean, can you imagine if you are a Tesla owner because you wanted to save the world and now you come out to your driveway, and you've worked so hard to be able to afford this car and you're trying to do the right thing. And now it says like Nazi on it. And you're just like, what happened?
Right. The people that own a lot of those Teslas actually were Democrats, right?
Yeah. But I think that's the beauty of their idiocy is that each thing they screw up, they're making it better for humanity.
Well, yeah. So Molly, do you think it's because the technology's in place, or do you think this is for you too, Nevs? Do you think it's because of technology? You think it's because we're in a faster world? Because this stuff would have worked had they not shotgunned so much of it. Like, we're going to allow you to we're not going to allow you to protest, stay inside. But then George Floyd happens. Okay, now you can protest. And then for people who aren't ideologically captured, they're like, this doesn't make sense. So a bunch of people jump off that train that you're talking about, Molly.
Yeah, and I think I'm not going to take credit for it personally, but I think when media started becoming more like do-it-yourself, fanzine, podcast, then a lot more people weren't like slurping the teat of the, mainstream media. And now we can share information a lot better and, through memes and through grape and saying it different ways and finding our way around it. We will find a way. Mm-hmm. And I really think that it's the people against the system. And truthfully, the system should be entirely transparent, and we should be able to be private. And for some reason, it's the other way around. I see Herbs in the chat. Hello.
Yes. Herbie. That's my Herbie from Meme Wars.
Yes, with the cat with the tuxedo.
Yes.
Right? And also, Harvard is now offering free tuition for families that make less than $200,000.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Nevs, you were going to say something?
Oh, yeah.
What Molly was saying?
Yeah. What were you just saying, Molly? Because I did have a follow-up to that. Sorry, I got distracted with the chat. I know what I was going to say. You know what I think the biggest game changer was? Because I think you're 100% right, Molly. The only problem is here's what they were starting to get that control. They were locking people down. They were putting masks on. They weren't letting people go out. And even some conservative governors were falling for this stuff. Like even in Florida, they shut the beaches down, which shocked me. And we went, you're right. We could meme, we could tell each other what was going on, but we could only do that in these small echo chamber places. All the big tech was censoring everybody. So I think the biggest game changer was Elon Musk buying X. That was a mainstream, everybody used it. And he took, I know not everybody's been able to come back yet on their old accounts, but free speech is wild on there now. And it's amazing because everybody can talk about things and it exposed so much that the Twitter files where they showed what they were doing, how the government was colluding with big tech companies. And you know what was happening with every single one of them. They all have these algorithms where even Facebook is still censoring people right now. Mark Zuckerberg,
YouTube.
He's a big faker trying to pretend like he's trying to step back. He's not. He's still just as dystopian as ever.
Yeah,
so
and I've just been running a tiny little shit posting account on Instagram for years, and I'm still getting zucked. And I'm nobody.
Me too. I'm getting suspended. Do you notice I have 0 followers? I followed you, Molly, on Instagram, and I have 0 followers because they keep suspending me every time I log in.
Oh, no. I have like a secret one. I'm like a squirrel. I have like a squirrel account.
I tried. I don't know if they get your MAC address on your computer instead of just your IP because your IP can change. I don't know, but they know. I tried to create another account and they suspended me immediately.
And all I do is repost. And it's like, well, you're allowing the original to exist, but then you're zucking my repost. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's all crazy. But I think it's just the fire we need to stay clever, to stay on top of it, to stay, high tech, whatever, which I'm not so great at. But that's why I did want to talk about swatting. But I feel like we've also been hogging up everybody's time. Big Hair Tsunami. Hello.
No, talk about swatting. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I think it's really relevant and because we have Randy and I'm sure you've been to swatting calls before, Randy.
Yeah. So here's a danger with when you do insane stuff like this. Nevs, one thing cops all have in common, generally we have a gun on us. So you just up the ante with your false call. These cops are showing up all antsy and excited, like, wait, the person at this house that we're going to has a gun and they're holding their family hostage.
Many homeowners do have a gun.
There you go with that. And then you have to think about it. Molly said something so interesting to me offline. She said, don't even think about it from the cop's point of view. Think about it from your point of view. Where you're a former Marine, Molly's a former cop, and she secretes herself somewhere in the house. And I'm not expecting company. Who's banging on my door and kicking it in? You know what? I'm going to start shooting at these intruders.
That's what they want.
We're going to get ourselves hurt, or the whole swatting thing. Molly's more of an expert on it. I'll give it to her. But my whole thing with it is the potential for danger.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what they want. And I think it goes back to what Nevs had talked about early in the chat is the person that swats, because it's not always political activists. Historically, it's been disgruntled ex-girlfriends that saw that there's that girl's car is now in his driveway and like we've only been broken up for 3 hours, whatever. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons that people find to swat other people. Celebrities get swatted all the time. I can tell you, having worked Hollywood division, that sometimes publicity agents swat their clients because then they call TMZ at the same time.
Oh, geez.
Oh, I don't know what's happening, but there sure are a lot of cop cars going over to so-and-so's house right now. I think somebody was seen climbing the hedge. So then TMZ reports, the police response, which makes their little starlet look like she's somebody because fans are climbing the hedge. And it was all just a publicity stunt. I have been to those calls. And again, am I responsible if I'm the crazy ex-girlfriend that's like, why is that girl's car there? Like, I'm going to say that he's doing something to her because I want the police to go bust them up so that they can't make out in front of the TV on Friday night. Am I responsible for homicide if that boyfriend decides, like, who the hell is at my door? What's going on? And arms himself to protect his homestead and the people within it? I think you're going to have a difficult time trying to prosecute something like that. I do believe that it's totally wrong, but I don't know what you do in terms of.
I know a lot of people have posted online that it's attempted murder, you know, and
I said that earlier.
Yeah. And, you know, if the intention is you're a disgruntled ex-girlfriend and you just want to stop someone from making out versus I really want them to go there because I want him to try to shoot them so that they shoot him. You know,
but also,
how do you prove that?
The, like Karen that's like walking my twins down the street in their stroller and I hear makeout sounds that sound like a woman in distress and I make a call and it ends up into a shooting. But I truly thought that something must be going on there. Those sounds aren't happening over at my house. And so I think you have to sort of look at it from a bigger
However, these swattings, they are calling 911 saying they are the person that they have shot their family and they're going to shoot themselves. Or they say, I'm going to commit a crime, or that they already have. So I don't know if, I know false reports to 911 are against the law, but I don't know that they have a hefty enough penalty behind them to prevent any of that.
And so the penalty is going to be really dependent on how many resources get tied up in it. Does anything else happen at the same time where we were diverted onto this like false call where we should have been catching this robber out of the bank? So everything is sort of nebulous or a shade of gray when it comes to prosecutions. But
I kind of wanted to add something to you guys' earlier argument. You guys actually agree with each other. The issue is Molly's looking at it from a moral, ethical. I'm sorry. Nevs is looking at it from a moral and ethical point of view, and Molly's looking at it from a legal, procedural point of view. So you guys actually agree with each other. Like, it's wrong, point blank, period. But like when I see a prostitute on the street and she's wearing a bikini in the middle of Christmas, I know exactly what she is. Yeah, but we can't prove it and blah, 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 blah. But all three of us right now know what's going on. Yeah. And Molly, she agrees with you on a fundamental moral, but she's right. Like, LAPD is not, oh, you shot somebody? That's not a violent crime. So that's what you're dealing with right now, Nevs.
Yeah, I just think when it comes to law enforcement, you have to be careful. And if that girl in the bikini was 20 and she's filming a music video walking down Melrose Avenue, nobody's going to have a problem with it. But if she's fat and has meth sores and is hanging out on Figueroa, people are going to have a problem with it. But it's the same act. A woman in a bikini walking down a public sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to add the meth sores or you'd think it was me.
The mess.
I think I know what you're talking about, Molly. The
Becky
slippery
Lou says she's
slope
probably
of,
just doing some dry, cold plunging for health
Oh
reasons.
my gosh.
Hi, Becky Lou.
you're talking about the slippery slope of the thing with all this anarchy, Nevs, like you said, the agenda is for what Molly does not want, which is I don't want a nanny state. So now we're going to look at everybody. And I think that's what part of their agenda is. Let's get everybody under this authoritarian.
Yeah, and
tyrannical
I
dictatorship.
don't want that either, but I also don't think it should be legal for a business
Oh, I agree
to
with you. I agree with you.
sell services that are fake protesting, because that's one of our civil rights. It's like, I don't know. That one?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's morally reprehensible, but in terms of law enforcement, I don't know where you get.
Well, I don't think it's illegal right now. I want it to be illegal, and I know I get why you're against it being illegal, because you feel like that's just more Big Brother. But
well, no, but I mean, it's Randy and I can attest, I'm sure, like how many people were panhandling, Randy, that you busted for standing in the middle of the road or doing some aggressive panhandling. Anyway, they're panhandling. Help me, I'm poor. Put money in my cup. And they either had a job or had housing, or they were on government welfare and not reporting that they were making $250 an hour standing at the freeway off ramp. It's morally reprehensible, but where do you draw a line in terms of legality? And I think we need less laws and not more.
So what's funny with what Nevs asked is it's an amazing I've never even thought about what you said. Like, it's an amazing and Molly actually told me before you came out, she goes, she's super smart. And I'm like, I've never even thought about, should protesting be illegal? I mean, I'm sorry, should paid protesting be illegal? And for me, I'm kind of just sitting here listening to the two of you talk about it. Like, I don't have, say I was just talking to you, Nevs, I'd probably go your way. If I was just talking to Molly, I'd probably go.
yeah.
So,
it's a well, there's so much complexity, and I'm with you, Molly. Less government, less Big Brother stuff. But what I'm seeing is our country being destroyed, and looking at the different ways that they're coming at us. And some of that infiltration, including us as people, citizens who want to go and protest, they infiltrate us as well. And that really takes away our civil rights, if you think about it. I believe there needs to be some laws or some changes, something to prevent that. For them to be able to pay for protesters is beyond me. I can't even fathom that that's even legal. But I'm like very libertarian too at the same time.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to the music videos. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been filmed in a crowd as like somebody's number one fan. But when they hit cut, then I turn to you and go, dude, did you go to that audition yesterday for the diarrhea medication? Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Okay, action. Woo, yeah, I love you, whatever. Like, so I think that you can pay people to fake. I mean, you pay people at Nordstrom to like hand you perfume samples and go, oh, this is the greatest and this makes you the best. I think any job.
That's so different, though. These protests are becoming violent, and
right, but
like
then you
Randy,
attack the crime. So you attack the crime. It's just like, so with. You go to the grocery store, you have a cold and you want to get cold medication, but it's a certain kind of cold medication. And now all of a sudden you have to swipe your ID and prove that you're not a meth user to buy some freaking cold medication, because people could use that for nefarious purposes. And I just feel like we don't need a database of who had a cold. I feel like that's overreach.
I'm not even talking about the protesters. I'm talking about the companies. I know, but as a company, don't you just want to sell your cold medication without people getting up your butt? Are people going to use it for bad stuff? Maybe, but I don't know. Just like I wouldn't want a company selling fentanyl. Like I said, I wouldn't want a company selling protesting. And just to point out what Randy said earlier, if you're out protesting naturally or organically to tell your government you're against something, and then a bunch of hired protesters are hired to drown out your voice. Your voice isn't heard. Your civil rights are being taken away.
Well, I mean, I think we lived through that with the media being shown like, oh, you know, Joe Biden is so popular. And it's like, have you been out in the real world?
Propaganda.
Yeah, it was. And so I think if you're going to go that far, then you have to, it's like that book, How to Lie with Statistics. And we were at a firefighter training yesterday and they were talking about some statistics about people who die in fires. And I'm like, yeah, but if you look at this, that, and the other, that could explain that particular statistic. But I think anything could be skewed towards the greater good. But how much skewing do you want to do? I think you go after the people hard that are committing the crime. And, you know, if you can catch with some kind of RICO action, but I'm telling you, RICO cases are so hard. And these people that are up at the top, that are trickling this cash down to absolute morons that think they're saving the world by throwing something through a window, like you're already dealing with total evil and total idiocy. And so the evil is going to cover themselves. I think you first attack it by having really, really strict, sentencing structure on the people who are doing this terrorism, and so that it's not cost effective. And then if it becomes to such a huge degree where they're getting $1 million for each incident, then the money's going to be a lot easier to find than whatever these dipshits are getting now, because they're not getting much. I mean,
but if you go after the George Soros of the world that are hiring these people, that's the thing. He has a lot of money,
but the end user isn't getting a lot of money.
No, it's not about, I'm not even talking about the money. I don't care about the money. It's the power. So George Soros has all this power. If he is not held accountable for these things, then other people just like him will continue to do that and will color revolutions. Look at the color revolutions throughout the world. These governments were toppled because of these paid protesters. And just yesterday, where was it, in Serbia? The leader of Serbia stepped down because of the people protesting after all this paid stuff. Not only paid protesters, but they paid to have this bridge taken down. I'm allegedly saying that, allegedly. But this big money, like if they start being held accountable, there will be nobody to pay these people who want to make money on the streets. I feel like go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I got you.
No, just the big fish. Get the big fish. Why
aren't the George Soroses considered this public enemy number one? This is
treason.
National security.
They're trying to topple the government. They're trying to do a coup.
So why not?
I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but Pozo for Hope. Pozo for Hope.
Pozo, like
Pozo?
Jack Pozo.
Yeah, that's who it is. Sure, in my chat, right? Says Act Blue, and yeah, we saw all of those.
Yes,
like, oh, hi, knock, knock, knock. Hi, little old lady. Did you donate to Act Blue? Oh, yes, I did. Did you donate $75,000, $22 at a time, 400 times?
No, I did $5 once, right? Yes. Yeah, that Act Blue stuff. We have somebody on YouTube talking to us too.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So what happens when all of these collapse? Like, we no longer trust the media. Democrat Party is in complete disarray. Hollywood, what happens to do they start using force? Because we're kind of tired of the whole, I'm going to burn your stuff up if I don't agree with you.
Yeah, it's kind of getting old. I don't think people are buying it anymore. Yeah, it's Pammy Rutledge on YouTube. Hey, y'all. This is also economic terrorism, so maybe a RICO Act would be in play. Oh, you've been here the whole time. Oh, we saw all the Rumble chatters, but not many folks on YouTube.
Listen, my brain is going as much as it can. Nevs, this was so great. Will you please come back and play with us again?
Sure, I'll come back sometime as long as you come back on my meme wars, because you cracked me up. I couldn't stop laughing.
Good. I'm glad that my homelessness makes you smile.
Oh, you're homeless and I'm unemployed. So there you go.
Boy, are we a couple of losers.
We're like the odd couple.
I just want to go out saying this. Nevs, I would love to pick your brain. Molly says you're brilliant, and you have my brain spinning with that question you asked. So I'd really like to. Molly and I, we have the cop stuff down, but the stuff you guys talk about, she said you guys are so smart on that chat, and I read through it, and I'm like, I can't even answer this.
We're all like borderline on the spectrum. That's why.
No, it's just you guys realize, oh, they're lying about this. They're telling the truth about that. What's going on with this? So,
yeah, always. We've been asking questions for so many years now. Like Molly's sister too. She's got all this stuff down as well. But yeah, anytime, Randy. Anytime. I really enjoyed chatting with you guys.
Well, plug your shows, Nevs. What do you got coming up?
Wait, you only swore twice?
Oh yeah. Who am I giving my money to? Do we want this artist that's drawing pictures of your rubble for $8,000?
I didn't get to use my sign much tonight. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Maybe.
Where's your mom? Is your mom in chat? She should be very proud of you.
I didn't see her. No.
Oh, okay.
But she's always looming. You never know. If I say a curse word, then she just like comes out of the blue, like, where'd you come from? It's like she feels a disturbance in the force. Okay, so we only have $2 to donate, so we're not going to be changing hearts and minds here. And for those of you that just showed up, I give my hard-earned money to losers on GoFundMe if I curse. So we're giving $2 away tonight.
And you all get to vote, though, right?
And you get to vote. So in the Molly Sleuth chat, I actually put numbers. I put a 1, a 2, and a 3 so that you could vote with them. But I think we have a 4th late runner. I think we're going to put this other guy in. Okay. So number 1 will be this chick who is saving LA fires by drawing a picture of the house you used to have. So you can fund her art for $2. That will be number 1. Number 2 says, help me become the ultimate goth boyfriend. This pays for cigarettes, tattoos, and hair dye. $2 towards his dream. This grandma wants you to give money to her little grandson, who is learning all kinds of discipline and good stuff, and he's doing better in school. But karate is expensive. I was a yellow belt 3 times, and I can tell you, yes, you have to start over. But then the 4th contender, so you've got the 1, 2, and 3 in the chat. And I don't know what we use for the 4th one. I guess for the 4th one, this happens to be my favorite GIF on earth. And I usually just look up the word ugly chick. And that's how I find her. I feel like this is my spirit animal. And then this other guy who is faking cars being on fire. And he's basically Jussie Smollett of the MAGA crowd, saying that people are beating him.
MAGA
all over. It was a lot. 4, Big Hair Tsunami. Big Hair Tsunami wants me to give $2 to this guy. You know what? He does have 3 GoFundMes, and he's asking for $8,000, $3,500, and $2,600.
Well, you could divide it by 3 and give him 1/3 of your $2 on each one.
That's a lot of math.
We can curse one more time and give him $1.
Why? Why
are people voting in chat? We've got Big Hair Tsunami. Okay, we need more votes. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Wants this guy, the faker. He's a faker. Big Hair Tsunami.
The little kid needs to go to karate, guys.
I know, but he
even though I'm against doing a good one, just because it will incentivize her to swear more.
It could be. They could all be fakers. I have some really depraved ones, I think, for next week too. But so this guy says
Pam Rutledge votes for Karate Kid.
Oh, Grandma. Okay, we're going. We have a vote for Grandma.
Yeah, 2 votes for Grandma now.
2 votes for Grandma. I only saw one.
From Poso and Tammy on YouTube.
Okay, good. Thanks for checking that. This is so embarrassing. Where are my $2 gonna change the world? I retract my vote. I am compromised. Mommy says. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then we have 2 votes for Grandma. We're really gonna give this kid $2.
You're gonna give him $2. You can give him a tip if you want.
I will give him a tip. I mean, we gave a bunny $10.
You are anti-tip, but you're gonna give him a tip, I'm sure.
Last week, little Olive got $10, and we're gonna give this like a whole human $2. So yeah, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to dig deep into my homeless fund.
I'm really proud of you, though. I really thought my sign was gonna run out of numbers. It only goes up to 99, I think.
You have no faith in me.
Oh, I have faith in you. I have faith in you.
I did try to class up the place for you and try to like keep it together.
You're very classy.
Yeah, sure. As I'm gonna chew my pizza right now, tell us about your shows coming up.
Oh yeah, tomorrow morning, Meme Wars and Coffee. So what time do I do that? 9 a.m. Eastern, and right here on Rumble. I know I see we have somebody on YouTube, but if you go to rumble.com/QWP, that's a acronym for Questions Worth Pondering, my podcast. Go there. Meme Wars will be live tomorrow morning with me and Herbie. And Molly joined us a couple weeks ago, so you're going to have to come on there again because Herbie insists he wants to do Meme Wars with you joining us. So
pressure is on. And I won Meme Wars last weekend.
You did. So yeah, we rate memes, and Molly won. And you won what? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Bragging rights.
I was hoping that you could find me like a couch to sleep on as a winner of Meme Wars.
We'll have to do that. You haven't bought your house yet?
Listen, life's rough. What can I say? I don't want to jinx anything. So I will just shut my mouth, but I am still sleeping on a floor as of right now, and I am out of the crack den. So that's good.
That's good. You need to be out of there for sure.
Yeah, it's been a whole thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through that.
I mean, if life wasn't totally bullshit, I wouldn't have so many good stories.
You have so many.
But I wish 99% of them weren't true, but unfortunately, life is crazy enough that I don't need to make anything up. And like, luckily now, like the internet. Can you imagine if I guess that wouldn't be me in the 50s with my CGI boobs on the internet. But like, if you didn't have screenshots, like imagine living in a world before screenshots that you couldn't like prove that everything you're saying is true.
And that wasn't that long ago.
That was a long time ago. That was a 20-inch waist. And now I have a 20-inch pizza.
Nice. Molly, bad news for next week. I won't be able to do our show. I'll be in New York.
Again? You jet setter.
You should do live from New York.
Oh, live from New York.
You could be on the streets and then you go up and interview people and we ask questions. Well, I'm not going to be on here. Molly will ask questions.
Listen, I can't watch my best friend get mugged live on my show.
Are you going to be in that kind of area? Oh,
it's New York.
Well, yes. I know. I've been to New York.
Absolutely. Right. I was going to make the same joke she made.
Yeah.
And there goes my phone.
Okay. As it's like running down the street. Stolen like that rat that took the pizza slice. It's just like a rat like running off with your phone.
Oh my gosh, I'm very visual. I'm picturing that now. Oh my goodness.
All right. Thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow. And then you're doing Department of Winning with Average Joe Patriot.
Yeah, that's tomorrow night.
You guys are doing a Spaces tomorrow night.
We're doing Spaces. It's DEPT of Winning on X.
I will take a nap so I can be up at Average Joe Patriot's Vampire Hours.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm there. It's actually Joe. He hosts it, but all of us from Department of Winning chime in sometimes and speak.
Yeah, and it's cool. And you guys take calls from people or talk about current events and stuff too. So it is interactive. I think that's the really cool part about it.
Yeah.
So I think somebody in the chat earlier was asking if we take calls. That does take calls. I don't know if that was one of the many spammers that was taken care of, but
yeah. The cool thing on X for Spaces is you just raise your hand. You can be a part of our conversation. So
yeah, it really is cool. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is through X on Department of Winning. So last week they were like, oh, do you want to get on it? Whatever. And I ended up joining with my burner account. It was like, oh, they don't know that this is me because it was like a monster face. So then I had to log out and all that stuff. So
well, I'm going to attempt to do it from the computer and not the phone tomorrow because the sound was horrible last week.
Oh, yeah. I was in my car listening to you guys because that's what you do when you're sleeping on a floor. So temporary. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the YouTube right now because you guys aren't allowed to hear music for some reason. I don't know. Take it up with them.
And
I play my music anyway.
Oh, do you?
I do, but I've been suspended from YouTube a few times, and my copyright. I think I